Welcome, everyone. My name is Tony Carcamo, President of Civilcadls Learning Solutions, and welcome to today's webinar over increasing civil engineering design efficiency. So typically, I'm actually a private consultant, so I provide training, consulting, tech support. We create Civil 3D templates, Civil 3D custom apps, and full engineering design support. And three things I've realized or learned is things that could drastically improve the efficiency of any engineering company. One is training. You got to provide training somehow, either online, they can watch videos, or customized training that's in-house, one-on-one training. Two, a good set of templates. Every company needs a really good set of Civil 3D or Bentley templates that's clean, understandable, that everyone can understand and use and follow. And the key is everyone needs to follow those templates. And three, having like third-party applications to become more efficient and productive. There's applications on the Autodesk App Store. There's other companies, private companies that sell suites of apps, just like ourselves. We actually have a suite of app, which is the CCLS productivity tools. And today I'm going to talk about those custom apps, how to drastically improve your efficiency when you're designing projects. Now, these apps could be used for commercial projects, single family, multifamily, a lot of industrials, airport projects, schools, transportation projects, and even probably even infrastructure projects and stuff. So how many of you, if you want to put it on the chat, have actually heard about our CCLS product tools? If you want to give me a thumbs up on the chat. We have several clients across America that are using our apps, and we actually are creating new apps almost every other month. We produce a new app and create updates. Last year, we released a new app every month. We had a lot of requests for certain tools and features when we updated our suites per the client's requests and made it possible. And today we're going to actually introduce another new app that we just completed. It's not quite yet. It's been submitted to the Autodesk App Store, but it's not been released yet to the public. Hopefully by Friday, you'll see it on the App Store for those that have the subscription for these apps. Now, our apps can be purchased on the App Store. If you've never been, go to Autodesk App Store and look for Civilcadls Learning Solutions, and you'll see our subscription. Our apps are monthly subscriptions and also yearly subscriptions. You can also go through us, and we can go through us to actually get the license. So you can go through the actual App Store, or you can go through us. Okay, so let's get into our apps. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to move this over. And let's go ahead and move this over to the chat so I can see the chat on the third screen. And I'll share my screen. So one of the things for those some companies, you have to provide preliminary construction cost, okay? And I remember back in the day when I was a CAD manager and I was working on my projects, we always had to do preliminary construction cost estimates for utilities and pavement, earthwork. And so that always took a little time. And so I decided with our programmer to get together and create an app that will help reduce time on just pavement related items. And then we'll talk about utilities next. So this project here, this is one of our old, when I was a CAD manager working for a company, this is a multifamily project with 15 buildings. And I wanted to get quality for all the hatching. We're using hatching. I want to create a dynamic table that separates the quantities based on pavement thicknesses. So in here, you can see I'll have different hatches for every type of pavement. So like parking spots are 5-inch pavement, parking aisles could be 6 inches, fire lanes probably be 8 inches. The building pads could be 10 or 12 inches. We got private sidewalks in here. We have dumpster pad hatches in here. So each one represents a different pavement thickness. And so we're going to go into our app to try to get some quantities based on this hatching. So I'm going to hit pavement quantities, and it's asking me to insert the table. It's going to look at my drawing. Anything that has hatching, it's going to look not extra, but just actually in the base. I'm going to insert the table. And here's what I get. Notice here, these are the different types of hatching it sees, and I can apply a thickness to those. So let's say I wanted 4-inch, and then I wanted 10-inch, and so on and so on. And I can add a cost item to each pavement thickness. I mean, that's 36 or something. But you can also import, let's say you want to standardize this across all your offices. Hey, sand, if you're going to use that AR sand hatch, that will always represent maybe a public sidewalk. So let's standardize this and let's go through and import an actual template I actually exported already. So I'm going to go open, and I've actually created one already. It didn't take very long. So let's go to AutoCAD, and let's see, pavement legend. Here's one right here I created. This was actually from 2 years ago. I'm going to hit open. And there we go. So this one is a new one I didn't have. I can assign something for this one right here, but notice here for sand, I got public sidewalk, parking stalls. This is also a new one here. That's a solid. I can assign a name for that one also. Maybe that's going to be a solid. That could be a fire lane. Okay. And maybe that's 8 inches. And then you'll assign whatever the quantity is based on cubic yards, or you can say this could be square foot, square yards, or cubic yards. It's doing the calculations for you. But what if you're using hatching for like parking, ADA parking spots, and you're using like the angle parking? You can actually come in here and say exclude and pick a layer that you're using for that no parking zone, because it's actually a hatch. You can pick that layer, and that way it doesn't show up on the list. But I'm going to click in here and just say OK. Now I have a table give me the quantities for those types of pavements. So anytime I add or subtract a hatch, come in here, I'll delete those. I can come in here and just hit the update button. And there we go. I just saw those numbers update automatically. So this is really a quick way to get some quantities for your pavements. So how many of you in the chat actually do preliminary construction costs? I had to do it in a couple of companies all the time. Let me move over the chat here. Anybody? Sometimes that's for engineers and stuff, but I know several companies that still do preliminary construction costs. So that's a really quick way just for pavement, okay? But once you get one, you can save this out. I'm gonna come in here and say edit. I'm gonna edit this table. And I can export, import it out here. I got edit, I got open, I could process this. I could add a hatch manually besides, this is a add new hatch update. Okay. And you can actually remove columns here. Notice we have a square yard, cubic yard. You can actually highlight and turn these off. You don't have to see those. So it gives you a couple options. And also the scale of the hatch based on the legend, you can actually change the scale of the hatch up here. Now, if any hatches is not quite closed, maybe you have some overlapping lines that crosses, you'll get an error message up here and tells you to zoom in and fix that. Well, that typically happens around sharp little corners, maybe like this. And where this little hatch continues on, let me hit regen real quick. This is where it typically happens. Click on that hatch. The line here will overlap, and sometimes I'll just take that grip and slide it back, and you'll see that error message disappear in order to get the quantities. Okay. Questions about just the pavement hatch quantities real quick. I just wanted to go over that one here. We've had several questions on LinkedIn about this hatch. This app itself. All good? Okay. Now, what if I wanted to get quantities for the preliminary line work of utilities? So I'm going to go into the, let's see, where is it? Utility base. So in this drawing, typically when you're working on a, maybe a commercial or residential project, somebody's creating a 2D line work of the preliminary utilities, right? Somebody laid something out for sewer, water, and storm. So in this drawing, I got a simple sewer and water. These are just polylines, 2D polylines. There's laterals, there's my water, and I want to get some preliminary cost for these items based on linear length. So we did create an app called Polyline Total. So I can click on it. It looks at all the line work and creates a table based on the objects on the line work, on the actual layer. So if I click here, here we go. Here's the layers it sees in a drawing. And I'm just going to click OK. Now I can see the total length of those objects based on the layer. So I have 6,942 linear foot of sewer pipe based on those objects in the drawing. So it's just a simple way to get on a 2D utility plan, pipe linear. Now, we don't have one for blocks. That's our next maybe goal, is get one for blocks to give us the total quantities. Now, you could possibly use the AutoCAD tool. It does the B count, and it can look at blocks to create a table for preliminary blocks for utilities. That's an option here. So I have this as a quick access from AutoCAD for blocks. But questions about just the 2D line. Like I said, this is just 2D line work. Each one, lateral's got its own layer, water's on the main, and I'm just getting total length in here. So if I did delete, let's say I delete this whole line here, I do need to hit the update button right here. Okay, in order to update this table. It's not dynamic automatically. You've got to hit the update button. So you notice here there's an update button for the polyline total and the pavement quantities. Okay, look at the questions here. All right, any questions about the two quantity apps? The 2D polylines, these are very simple apps. Okay. I was just looking at the chat and saw that. Are you posting a link? Okay. All right. Let's move on to our next app. So let's talk about street profiles, and that's a really popular one right now for us. We just released a new app. Does hatch table work layer as well? No, it's just basically, you're talking about the pavement quantities. That's really just on what's in the drawing. So if I go back to that, that's a good question. Site base, total quantities. It's based on just the hatch patterns. So we could look at it. If that's going to feature you are wanting to say, hey, how much total quantities based on the layer, we could look into that too. So good question. So besides doing by hatch patterns, we can do it by layer and get quantities. So yeah, we can look into that and see if that's possible. All right, let me move on to the next one. And we're going to talk about street profiles. All right, so I'm going to close this and close the other one. This one right here. And that polyline total can also be used for maybe striping. Maybe you got some line work and curbing. You're doing a transportation project and you want to get total length of sidewalks and curbs and barriers and fencing and retaining walls. That's another option you could do, is run that out based on layers and get quantities on those items on a public transportation project. All right. Okay, let's talk about street design. And that's a really good, popular one for us right now. In here, if I'm going to get started, okay, and this is a subdivision I did for a client. It was 176 lots. And I'm looking for, if you have examples of bigger projects you want me to test it on, feel free to message me, send me an email, and we'll run it live for your company. So if you like a live presentation for your company, just give me a quick message. Okay, so in here I have yellow representing alleys and red represents a 2D polyline for the center of the road. Okay, now I want to go ahead and create my alignments, my profile view, and a preliminary design for this. Now in Civil 3D, you have to do this one by one. You got to create the alignment, create the profile view, and then design your preliminary profile, right? Well, we want to go ahead and just do it all at one time. So I'm going to use our, notice here we've got it kind of in order here. So create profiles. Now I can do a window selection and just select all of them. I'm just going to do the main lines first. Okay, I'm just going to do these. And that should be it. But we got one more over here. And I'll do this one too. Okay. This takes us to our dialog box and go to create alignment name templates. So in here, I can assign names. I can say, Johnson Avenue, and so on and so on. I can add it. I can add another one here. This could be Adams Lane, and just hit the plus symbol and keep going. But for this exercise, I'm just actually, but it would actually pop up right here. So it's here at Johnson Avenue. I can say Adams. Okay. I'm going to go through and assign most of the defaults. So I'm going to hold down my shift just like Windows. And I want to use existing right here. I want to use proposed. So I do have a surface in here. I got a proposed design style in here. I want to go into my label sets. So I'm going to go to street label sets, my alignment styles, my alignment label styles. So notice here, I'm designing the styles for the profile views. I'm sorry, the design profiles and alignment styles. We do have a button here now that says design criteria. So if you wanted to use a design criteria, maybe the ASHTO standards, you can go through and select these in here for base criteria, and I can just go and click to point to the ASHTO standards. And that was a request from one of our clients and stuff. So now what it's going to do here, notice here that you have some presets right here. I can say, okay, I'm going to hold, this is my profile, and my existing is doing something like this. So right here it says the maximum length of my profile, not the length, but the actual curves. This is for the curve information and stuff. So it's going to try to create a curve based on low and high points as best as possible. But the goal is just to create the actual design profile. It's not really designing. You need to go and design it yourself. So don't assume that, hey, this is what, this is the design I need to use. You actually need to design this profile. It's just building the design profile for you. That's all. These are just presets to how you want to create these curves and sags. Okay, you can change those presets. Another question came up from one of our clients, says, hey, what if I want to change all the start alignment besides 001, I can start it at 500. You can type that in and change them all at one time. Or maybe this one is picking up from another alignment. So maybe this one starts at 500. And maybe this one started at 345. Okay, so you do have the option to override the starting station value. Now, somebody asked us, well, how does it know which direction the alignment's going? So notice here, when I click it, there's a little arrow, as you can see on the screen, showing you that 00 starts from the right and it goes to the left. You do have an option to right click and reverse it. Notice here, the arrow flips, so the alignment will start from left to right. I'm going to reverse it back. I can zoom to it. So just to let you know, if the polygon was drawn in the wrong direction, you can always reverse it in this toolbar. All right. All right. So I've just gone through the first step. I'm going to hit the next step. And in here it says, okay, do you want to create a profile that's exactly 800? And it creates another one, 800, continues on and continues on at a set value, and has a 25-foot buffer at the beginning and a 25-foot buffer at the end. All right. So this is kind of getting set up for planned production. So I'm going to click, highlight all these items and say, okay, I do have a band set. I want to use, notice the presets are already set up for me, and it's going to flip these profile view styles based on the direction. So if my alignment's going that direction, it's going to do a right to left. Sorry, I'm trying to do this with my mouse. A right to left profile view. So notice here, this one flip, that one flip, this one flip, based on the direction. Now, if your company standard says, hey, we're always going to do left to right, you can just change this value. That way it updates all the ones. It's always left to right. Okay. And I'm going to hit apply now. I'm going to say, I'm going to use that. Hit apply. Notice here, added a few more stations. I'm going to hit next. Next here is the band sets. I'm going to say existing and hit next. And this is how you want to stack it. Gives you options. You want to do it by row. All these profiles are being by row, by columns. This would be columns. You know, if I had 3 columns here, okay. And you can set the values in here. So I'm just going to hold the defaults, but you can change the gap. This is the gap space in between the profile views. All right. So I'm going to say column. Let's just see what happens here and hit save. And hit next. Now, if you're doing offsets, let's say you have a road. This is my my right of way, ROW. And the city is saying, I want existing and proposed offsets at the right of way or top of curb. You can come in here and say, okay, I want it proposed, and I can do my offsets. I can come here and say add. So you can assign the styles, right. And this is for existing at 30 foot. So I'm going to say, I want to be actually at 50 foot. right? And default label set, no label sets. I can hit add. And this could be for all of them if you really wanted to. I can come in here and say add for all of those. There we go. And it's all existing in here. And I'll hit next. Now you can always delete the individual ones too. It's up to you. Now notice my style here, I picked the wrong style. I did PG, and then I used the EG style here, but you can always change it. You can come in here and change if you messed up. Okay. I'll leave it just like that. I'll hit create and ask me where we're going to put all these profiles. Oh, looks like I did something wrong. I think I missed one step. Let me go back and undo real quick. Sorry about that. That's good doing it live to see if anything goes wrong. Let me run a quick audit in this drawing. I was playing with this drawing today. Anybody have any questions so far? And I do have two surfaces in here. Some ask like, hey, is this like a theta shortcut surfaces? No, they're just surface pretty built already in this drawing. So let's go back real quick. I'm going to go back and select these roads. And we're already at 30 minutes. Okay, so I'm just going to select a few of these roads just to save time. And I'm going to leave it at station markers. Let me just highlight these, go to PEG, PG. Let's go with label sets, and then we'll do street label sets. Okay, and we'll hit next. We'll do 800, let's do 900 foot. And left to right, left to right. We'll hit, we want band sets. So I'm going to add some band sets to this alignment and hit apply and hit next. And then we want to select the EG for that first band set. And I want to do by columns, and we'll go next, and we'll just miss the offsets for now, just save some time. And let's see if we get it to work. There we go. I think I missed a step in the other one. So notice here, we have 900 foot. Notice this preliminary design profile built for me automatically. Everyone has one. Now you see here, it's not exactly at the high point here, but that's where you step in and actually design this profile. So I just built all those alignments, cut them up automatically, okay? Questions about that? And it is starting, the way it starts, it connects at the existing point and ending at the existing, at the end of the alignment existing point. So, so you have that flexibility to stack them if you want them in row by columns, moving around. But notice here, I think I did another video where I actually just highlighted everything and created them all at one time. Now our new app comes into play. So our new app is called the Create Plans and Create Sheets app. Okay, so I'm going to say Create Plans to create plan views. So I'm going to hit Create, and I'm going to select all my alignments. I'll hit Next. So here it's pointing to my template. I'm going to point to my template. Through here, I'll just point to that template. It's already pointing to it. What layer do you want these on? Let's see, I'm gonna do I have a layer? I'll say 0 for now. I don't think I have a layer in this drawing. And then the match line block. So I have a match line block. I do have a left and right in here. I'm gonna create plan views for now. Now this profile views is actually creating, if you're not doing plan production, creates a view based on the profile. Okay, if you're not doing plan production and you want to manually line it up yourself in the sheets. So if you go into Sheet Set Manager and go to the Model tab, you will be able to see these views, open up your plan and profile sheet and drag and drop the views that represent each viewport. And that's another option. Some people do that. So I have all this list of views for the profile, and I'm just dragging and dropping into the profile sheets. That's what this button is for if you're not doing plan production. Okay, let's go ahead and create our plan views. There we go. Now you do have an option to rotate them around. make them smaller, not as tall. You know, you see the grips here, dynamic grips. You can make it more narrow. You can pull them back. And now I'm going to create the sheets. I'm going to say create sheets. Now I'm going to want 3 tabs to each sheet. Now it's saying I'm going to attach the base plan and the profile. And I'm attaching these to the actual plan and profile sheets. I'm not importing the profiles. So in Civil 3D, it imports the profiles. I don't want it to import. I just want to attach it to my plan and profile sheets. So these will show up and it'll create our plans. And it says where you're going to put it. And then this is the naming convention. Now here at the bottom says warning, say, hey, make sure that you've got your views the way you want them, okay? Go ahead and make your adjustments before you create your sheets. I'm going to click OK and give it a couple seconds. It's creating all the sheets. And if I go and look, keep our fingers crossed, make sure everything goes okay. It created the drawings. Here's the drawings here. So let's see how it worked out. It looks like it missed a few ports. I think it may have had to lock. Let me go check if I had the drawings lock. Let me rerun it real quick. Close it, or actually let me hit audit real quick to make sure it wasn't just frozen. Notice my viewport was already adjusted to the sheets, but I'm going to close it, rerun it. Questions so far about creating the plan sheets, all these sheets together. I'm going to close this real quick and go back to our drawing. I'm going to delete those and just double check, make sure I didn't miss a step here. I'm going to delete these. Okay, and let's just rerun these create sheets right here. This is our create sheets app. This is the new one. All right, so I'm going to say 3, and I'm going to say uncheck this and see if this is just a bug. It was just working yesterday, but we'll check. Questions so far? Does the extras attach as an overlay? I think they are. Then we'll double check, make sure. Let's see. Open this up. And let me look at the X-rays real quick. It's an attachment, as you can see here. And do y'all want an option if you want it to be attached or as an overlay? I don't think it matters because it's not really getting attached to another drawing, the actual sheets and stuff. So I think let me go back real quick and delete these again. I think I may have just found a bug. Delete. It created the sheets, created the viewports. It's just not attaching the profiles. And let me run a quick audit before I run it again. Oh, let's see here. Looking at all the questions. Yes, you are you able to adjust the views after they're created? You can adjust it, but I don't think they're going to reflect back on the sheets. Yes, and we are looking at that way. If I make an adjustment to the actual views here, like if I want to come in here and make it more narrow and shorter, And notice that there is a match line block in here. So you're going to select your match line block, but you can actually pull this back before you create the sheets. You do have the flexibility. All right, let me go run this again, make sure, see what's going on here. Attach, okay, name, okay. Good questions. Yes, the actual profile, the base profile here gets attached, and the base, this base that's in this drawing, also gets attached to the planet profile sheets. And let's see here. I think I know what I did wrong. I think I know what I did wrong, but we'll see. Yeah, I know what I did wrong. See, the profiles are not showing up. The plans are showing up with the profile. Let me go back real quick so I can see if that's the bug. I'm going to delete these views real quick. I'm going to recreate these views. I think I should have left the views on, that little checkbox. Let me select similar. That's good that, we're seeing this live and how to problem solve if something doesn't go right. And let's go create let me make sure I got all the, okay. And let's go create the views again. And hit next. All right, I'm gonna turn this on right here, create views, van views, and see if that was the bug, because I'll uncheck that. We do have our match lines. Okay, create. All right, I'm gonna hit file, save as, so I don't modify this drawing. So over to, I'll call it okay. Save. And let's go try to recreate these sheets again. And I want 3 per tab. Hit OK. Give it a few seconds. Any more questions? You had some pretty good questions. All right, so let's see if it created the sheets. It did create the sheets. Let's go to that first one here. That's weird. We just did this yesterday, so we may have to go back and kind of see what's going on. It's not attaching. Notice here it didn't attach the XREF. We might go back and look at that and see what's happening with this app, because it just did it yesterday for us. Let me look at the other sheets and see if it created it. So here's all the sheets for all the actual alignments. Yeah, it's just not attaching. We'll go look into that. See, probably a simple little fix that we'll upload it this morning. Okay, let's move on to our next one because we're running. We still got some time. Now, let's talk about. We've talked about the street plans and street sheets. Let's talk about pipe networks. Okay, let's go to our pipe networks. I'll come back to the streets here at the very end and just do another run test. Okay, so here I have simple 2D pipelines that represent my sewer. Now, with our pipe network app, you can create all your main lines, your trunk lines for sewer, water, storm at the same time. Now, not pressure pipes. If you are using gravity pipes to represent your water, that's what I mean with water design, not gravity pipe network. I'm sorry, pressure pipe networks. This is strictly gravity. So here, this is just 2D pipelines. I'm going to do all the sewer first here. I'm going to come into our create pipe network. And I have all these laterals, but I'm just going to select the main trunk lines. And we got this one. This will be 2, 3. We'll say that's going to be 4. And then 5. 6 will be up here. And then 7. And then 8. I think we have 8 trunk lines. Yeah. Okay. And I'm here, I can assign the actual alignment. So I could say SS dash and then say the next counter and say insert and hit, we'll do 9 just in case and hit plus. Now it creates my alignments. These are going to be my alignment names, also representing my network names too. All right, I'll click OK. Okay, and then in here, I'm going to select the sewer networks. So I'm going to slide this over. You need to give some space here. And here, these are interconnecting together. So this is going to be SS1. That's SS1 because it's all part of one sewer network. That's also SS1, SS1, 1, and then the rest are 2. These are actual network names. Okay, I'm going to come back over here, select them all and say, okay, I want surface based on a proposed surface or existing, 5 foot of cover, okay? And then I want it to follow a PG first, and if they can't find a PG, we'll go with EG. I want start in the start, I want sewer, and just let you know, somebody asked, is this importing pipe networks? No, it's using whatever you have in your drawing. I'm not importing layers or styles or anything. Our apps doesn't do that. It's using whatever you have in your drawing. I'm going to say it's a 24-inch RCP. We're going to have manholes. Oh, I selected the wrong one. This is a storm. Oops, wrong pipe network. Sewer. Sorry. We're going to have 8-inch PVC, and then we're going to have a manhole. So, and we're going to be 4 foot. Okay, I'm just using default standards right now. Okay, now you do have an option up here to say add a manhole every 500 feet, maximum length for your pipe. So some, mostly like subdivisions, the maximum length of a sewer line is only 500 foot before you put another manhole. All right, and the bottom is your alignments. I'm going to slide this over, scrunch it down, slide it over a little bit, and click up here. Just click anywhere up here just to reset this. And I'm going to create my alignments next. Okay. And once you do this a couple times, you're going to be able to fly through it. So now I'm going to hit add network names. So this is, notice the arrow here. All right. This is SS1. That's SS2. Just kind of renaming some of these. That's 3. These are the alignment names. 4. Now, if none of these were touching each other, were separate networks, I wouldn't have to rename this. It would know automatically. And then this is -5, and so on. 6, 7. Of course, 4, there were 8. Oh, notice here I renamed. So 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. Miscounted. Okay, and then 7 and 8. Right. Like I said, these are just network alignment names. I'm going to select them all again and say this is going to be a sewer style for my alignment, sewer. Okay, let me make this wider. So network names up top, alignments at the bottom. Real simple. I'm going to create. And in a couple seconds, it's creating the alignments and your pipe networks automatically for all of them. And then somebody asked me, could you do the laterals? Yes, you could do the laterals. I could have selected all these laterals and make it its own alignment for every one of those laterals. The pipe networks will be connected. You can do that. I mean, typically, if I was designing the subdivision, yeah, I would have just selected everything and gone through and assigning lateral names for every little lateral. All right, now I'm going to create all my profiles. I just created my alignments and pipe networks simultaneously all together. I could have done water, sewer, storm also together. Okay. Create profiles now, and I'm going to select all my profiles, and there's presets in here. I'm going to hit settings. So it says that, hey, if it starts with SD, use this profile view. Well, I'm going to change this to 40. 40 or SD left to right, and 40 SD right to left. That way, if the alignment goes from right to left, it's going to use a flipped reverse align profile view. These are just presets. Also surfaces, if it says PG, use my PG. And if I have any label sets over here, I can. Left, if there's an offset, what kind of style? I'm going to come here to the right. These are just presets. If there's something existing, you can override that. Pipe networks. So it says if there's crossing pipe networks and laterals, it's going to use this crossing style. These are presets made. You'll only have to do this once. You can save this out. That way, everybody in the company could use it. Okay, I'm going to hit apply. Then I go next. And notice these settings are now taking effect. So if it says PG, okay, it's going to use my FG style. And if I have label sets, I'll add it here. This one doesn't have any because it's not a street profile. These are pipe networks. Okay, and hit next. And here, just like the pipe networks, how long do you want to create these? Well, I want to create these 900 foot. And then I want to add a band set right here. Oh, these are pipe networks. I'm going to hit none. Sorry. I'm going to hit apply. And notice here I added 2 additional ones. I'll hit next. And no band sets. I'm going to use columns. Notice here my stacking by alignments. Now, if you wanted to add hatching, a customer says, hey, could we add some kind of hatch patterns to our profiles of our pipe networks? We did. We actually included this. So in here, you can select your cut and fill factor hatching into your utility profiles. I'll hit next and next. And then this is what's going to create. Now, I don't have an electrical one, so I'm going to uncheck that. These are our 2 networks. I'll hit create. And we're going to put it. And there we go. Notice that some of these, I think I didn't select the right surface. So notice here, this is what it's supposed to do. And here, it's applying that 5 foot of cover. These SS6 and 7, which may have started outside the surface, didn't select the actual right surface, so then it's kind of zeroed out and stuff. So let me try to recreate that. Let me see if I can get it to do it again. Questions so far? Now, you see this hatch thing going on right here? That's one of our feature tools. This is highlight pipe. So if I'm in split view and I'm create a profile and I select that structure or pipe, it highlights it in the plan view. So this is kind of a neat little, I guess, visual tool to show you if you select something in plan, it'll be highlighted in profile. It doesn't design anything, just highlight items or objects. Now you do have a setting. You can apply a transparency. You can change the color when you're selecting these pipes. We go create those profiles again. See what happened. Can you select? Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, good question. You can do that. Okay, let me go through this route one more time. I'm going to uncheck this, and I'm going to just hit apply. Okay, column alignment. Next, existing. It remembered my profiles. I'm going to uncheck this. Well, you know what? I'll uncheck all these. And maybe I totally didn't clear out the profiles out of the drawing. So I don't want that one, but let's see what we get. There we go. All right, so you see here, I don't know if y'all can see, here's my sewer, and it's trying to maintain that 5 foot of cover. Okay, it's not designing, it's just trying to maintain a 5 foot of cover. So it created all the profiles, as you can see here. Now here's one little bus here, I'll just notice on this one manhole, but the rest of them are all created, as you can see. Every profile has been created for every pipe network, okay? Now I can label them all at one time, they're on the same network. So for example, these profile network labels, I can come in here and say, I'm going to create presets that everyone can use in the company or in the office. So here I'm going to say sewer left to right. So if the profile is going left to right, so I'm looking at these profiles are going right to left. I'm going to say sewer right to left. Now these are my labels. I'm going to say top a structure and the top view. So it's going to grip at the very top. I'm going to use my universal label, this one. And in the flow line at the bottom, I'm going to do a right to left, a universal one. Okay. And then I'm going to do the actual pipe, and have another one in here. And I can label these pipes 3 times, so 3 different labels, and the structures with 3 different labels. I'm going to do maybe a materials. Will tell me if the pipe is SDR 26 or 35. And I could save this. That way I could use it again. Okay, I'm doing a whole network. I'll say, now the first button here is if you're going to do one profile view. I'm just going to label maybe 1. This one is every profile within the same network. So SS1, I'll just highlight all the profile views, label them all at one time. So let's just do that, just show you an example. I'm just going to hit add by profile view, select any structure or pipe, and then just window. And look at that. So you can see my pipe labels, they're all attached to the top and bottom. Okay. Same thing here. Now I would have to pay attention to make sure that, you know, some of these are actually left or right. So I can just flip some of these reverse profiles, flow line labels, I'm sorry. Now these didn't get labeled because this is SD2. So I can come up here and say add profile views. And these are all going right to left. And let's just do a window here. And there we go. Voila, I just labeled all these. Now you just need to swap the ones that need to be swapped. So maybe you have this one is now a location where 2 trunk lines or 3 trunk lines come into play. So that could be, you know, the one would have a reference, another alignment. There we go. Now you can click that other alignment. Typically, I'll change one and do match properties and just match properties the ones I need to flip or change. But as you can see, it's pretty easy. Now, if I did storm, I would come in here and switch it over to storm and label the storm. So now you know you don't have to no longer come through here and select which pipe labels I'm doing. You want to pick the most common label styles for your pipe and structures, then change the ones you need to change. But this saves so much time. Questions about our profile labels. This is only for profiles, not for plan, because the plan labels are in the actual sheet. Questions? So I do have one for sewer, storm, and water in my templates that I do design for companies. I have all 3 of them. That way I can just change back and forth from one to the other and then come up in here. Now, typically when you're designing, I don't know if you ever noticed these labels will slide up and down sometimes. You know, let's say your labels are doing something like this. You know, you had made adjustments to the sewer and pipes and they're just moving around. I don't know. Give me a heads up if you ever see your labels move around when you're changing and adjusting them. Now we have a little tool for that. Maybe this one got reset or something. All right. And I want to adjust these to go back and be anchored at the top again. So we have a little tool up here that says the pull down says pipe network labels move. Okay. And I'm just going to do a window selection of these labels here. I'm just taking the top, not the bottom, the top of these labels. Now, of course, everybody has different types of profile structure labels. Some people are straight up and down. Some people are actually horizontal. Everyone's kind of different. Typically, I tell clients, hey, just send me your label template and I'll set one up for you so it works correctly for you. I'm going to hit enter and say top and set the value back to 0. And look at that. It reset my labels back to the top. Now, we're hoping maybe in the future we can maybe lock them in place so they don't move and when you're making design changes. Questions about our network labels. Now I use them all the time, all my projects. I have water sewer set up already for me. Questions? Any questions about our profile labels and our pipe network labels? Like I said, you could come in here and select all of these at one time and do all your laterals. Now somebody came back to me and said, hey, I created all my alignments, created my profiles, but we need to include another surface to these profiles. Well, you can go back to your multiple profiles app. It recognizes the pipes that are already in here automatically. And then you can get to the part where you're doing labels. Let's see here. And if you had another surface, it would pop right here. You can add it and include it to all your profiles at the same time. So we had a client did that. They were actually going one by one, and then they was playing around with that app and was able to add an additional surface to all the profiles instantly, or simultaneously. Wasn't really meant for that, but it actually worked. So you can see how much of a lifesaver this is. We have clients to do 800 lot, 1,000 lot subdivisions, multiple phases, and they'll use our app. They'll create all your alignments, a minute or two, create all the pipe networks, a minute or two, create all your utility profiles, a minute or two, then create all the preliminary labels, a minute or two. So within like 15 minutes, they've already done a lot of work. Questions on these apps so far? Now there is a relabel, rename parts. So let's say, I'm just going to window select, and I want to rename all the manholes. I'm just going to window everything here. And the city tells you, hey, all the manholes need to be precast. So I can just come in here and say precast. It renames the actual description names. Okay, I'll click OK. And if I go back into any of these and go to structure properties, you'll see that the precast has been added, and also to the actual labels, you'll see precast. So it's a simple little tool. And, maybe I want to relabel all the pipes. So all the ones says 8-inch, maybe that's I don't know what it is. If it's C900, that's probably for water, but what it is for sewer. But I can come in here and say, make them all STR 35. So all the pipes say that. Okay. Now the labels will automatically update on, there it is. You see STR, actually, this is a different label style. It doesn't read description, it just says STR 26. But if I did have a different label style, there it is. That's a different one. It's reading the actual pipe. So this label style here that I've created actually reads the coverage of the pipe and identify if it needs to be F26 or 35 based on my rule set coverage. Questions about the pipe network apps. Like I said, you could do this, and you don't have to wait for a new project. I get clients, oh, we'll use these apps on a new project. We'll wait. You don't have to wait. You can jump in immediately in the middle of a project and start using these apps, because it's not inserting anything. It's not adding anything. It's using whatever you have in your drawing, whatever label styles you've got, whatever pipe networks you have, whatever layers you have, that's what's using. So you don't have to wait for a new project. You can jump in and start using them immediately. Okay. Okay. Questions? Any questions? I know I'm kind of going fast because I'm showing a lot of apps. Yep. Okay, let's talk about the dry utility. There's one in the middle. Some people actually do dry utilities. That's gas design, fiber communications, electrical, trenching design. So we have clients there that do miles of this stuff, and they want to show a diagram and show off the pipe networks. So we do have an app for that. So here you see this magenta line. This magenta line, starts up here, comes down around, and comes up and goes all the way up, okay, back up here. It's probably got like a mile long. It's getting close to a mile. It's 3,800 linear foot. Okay. I want to create a trench that shows gas, fiber, communications, and cable or electrical. So we'll use our dry utility. It's just a polyline. That's all it is. All right. And I'll come in here and say, okay, the first one could be electrical. Okay. And I can do 4 conduits. And I can say it's 2 foot of cover for this electrical, let's say 1.5 foot of cover for electrical. The network name will be, I'll just call it E-1. Okay. All right. And I can tell it to follow a proposed surface first, then existing, or I could tell it to follow an alignment or an elevation difference. You have all these different options. And here I got an option for offsets between the actual conduits. And then I have another offset here based on the baseline. Is it going left or right of the baseline? Okay. It's a center line of the trench. So I'm going to hit, now I'm going to go to second level. Okay. Maybe this will be my gas. We'll do fiber. We'll do create a new one. F-1 for fiber. And do I have fiber? These are pipe networks I'm using. I do have fiber. Okay, we'll use 2. And then this one is maybe 2.5 foot deep. Okay, we'll do 2 inch and 1 inch. Okay, the next level, this could be 3 foot of cover for gas. And I'm just making up, the coverage. It's not following any kind of design, just to let you know. I'll click OK. And we'll go with gas. We'll use 1 gas size. Oh, there it goes, PVC. And we'll use maybe a 3-inch gas. These are the layers. These are the null structures it's using, where it actually creates a curve or there's a bend. There's no structure. It's just a fitting. And so we have 3. So we have electrical, 4 pipes in there. We have fiber with 2. And we have 1 with gas. Okay, and we can go on more and more. Okay. The app can create up to 36 conduits. Okay. One of our clients asked, well, what if you have a large metal conduit with all the other conduits inside of it, like that? Yes, you can do that. It's all about the offset and the spacings between the conduits. So how this and this and this goes into play. So you just calculate that. So usually you'll create your first box, which will be this one first, to represent the center structure, center conduit, like square rectangle conduit. And then the rest are the circular ones inside of it. So you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and hit place. I think I get them all 3. Yep. Now you just got to watch out if your pipes are outside of both surfaces. Okay. I give it a few seconds. I think I did hit it. Hopefully it didn't try to lock up on me. Questions, where it's going? I'm going to let it sit there so it doesn't try to lock up. I think it's done. Sorry about that. Usually doesn't take that long. Okay, so if I look in, you can see all the conduits. Those circles are the null structures. But let's go to like an isometric mode view to look at these conduits. Sure is running slow now. Okay, and as you can see, it created all the actual conduits. Note these are jumping because it's trying to follow the surface and maintain the surface. So let's go zoom in a little bit more. See if I can show you a different angle. You can see all the different conduits right there. So you can see the 4 and the 3 and the 2 and the gas at the bottom. So it did create all our conduits for me automatically. Now, one of our requests by our clients is, hey, what if we make an adjustment to the actual control line? Will it automatically update? No, but you could easily recreate it to create the conduits. We're kind of looking into it and see how difficult it would be to auto update the actual alignments. And if you're just, let's say, changing the line work horizontally. Well, this is another popular app that our customers are kind of loving. Those that do like dry utilities. So maybe you're doing fiber and gas in a subdivision. Or a light industrial project. That'd be another good example. Or airport project, a lot of conduits underneath the ground. Okay. Now, once you created all the pipe networks, let me see if I can find one that's already done. I don't know if I saved any of these. Let me open up a project that I was working on for a client and do a QTO of all the pipe networks, not the QTO manager, but the QTO of just the pipe networks. We do have an app for that. Let's go into this in here. I'll open up as read only. And I want to get the quantities of all the utilities based on network names. So in here, this is a utility base with storm, water, and sewer, as you can see. Nice and clean. So these are, so let's get some right here onto pipe network QTO. I'm going to just window everything. And over here, 2D link, center, or 3D link, or 2D center edge. You have these different options. I want just a description. And you do have an option, as you can see here, to export the file as a CSV or create an AutoCAD table. So you do have both options. I'm going to say just create the AutoCAD table. Put it right here. So now I was like, looked like I was on the XREF layer. Yep. So SD6 is just for pipes. We only had 22.965. You can change the unit value here. So it's not 3 decimal points. You do have that option. So every network name has a total QTO. We're hoping in the next update, we'll have it all for just storm, for just water, and just for sewer. But this is right now based on networks. So you have a QTO here. And if you make, let's say you make adjustments and delete it, you just need to go and recreate it. Okay, just go recreate the table. That's a simple QTO tool here that we can get quantities from. That's structure and pipes. So you'll notice here it says structures. Okay, we had this 18 by 8 tap and sleeve and valve, 8 by 6 T's. A null structure probably means that there's a connection there. But yeah. Questions? I know I'm kind of going a little fast. All right. All good on the QTO? All right, so let's close the, let's see if I need to use anything else in here. No. Okay, grading. Our next Poppy app is grading. Okay, so spot grading. Now this is a simple, almost cookie cutter subdivision because it's all just rectangles, and there's not a bunch of curves and stuff, but those are the ones that kind of pain because you just can't copy the label and just mass copy all of them. Here you could, I could copy like each, several of these and just point, click and click. But then when it turns, I got to create a whole new set. So I'm going to show you 2 different methods. If you're labeling in base plans, that's going to be the first method. And if you're labeling in sheets, that'll be the second method. Okay. So I'm going to do a commercial and I'm going to do a residential project. So in here, I have feature lines. I built this subdivision. There's a corridor surface that's been built in here. And I want to label all the feature line that represents the swells. So I want points there and there, there, and here where it connects endpoints. And if there's a PI, you added like a high point or low point, I want a label there also, okay? And later we want a lot label, okay? All right, let's go through that. Right now, it's a pain going through in a big subdivision, has a lot of curves, spot labeling everything, okay? We want to do it all at one time. So I'm gonna go into the label here. It says label at vertices. And you have an option to XREF or Y. Right now, I'm just going to window select everything. And I'm going to label the feature lines only. Okay, hit enter, say S for setting, and select the label style I want to use. So this is going to be the most common label style. It could be one with a leader, one without a leader. So here I have probably this spot grade one here with an X. And here it says, I just want to label the feature line. But I do have an option for survey figures, 2D polylines, 3D polylines, splines, partial lines, and alignments, okay? And I'll click OK. It says select the surface. And there we go. Now I picked that outer one. The outer one is actually a feature line that's extracting points from a surface. That's why there's many labels. There's all these little PIs in there. I probably should have never collected that outer feature line, but notice here, I now have a label everywhere, okay? I could easily come in here and create a different label style. Maybe one that has a leader. Let's see, finish grade right or left. Okay, and then just do match properties. I can do a match properties and just snap to the ones you want to just flip. Okay, so this is a lifesaver. I mean, it saves so much time. Some of these you still got to move around. You got to figure out because that'd be AI technology to try to figure out not to do overlapping. You would have to recognize each other's labels and stuff. So, but okay, that's a lot of labels. I just added a couple 2 clicks Select similar. I added, didn't tell me here, but properties, 773 spot labels. Now, if I bet you the outer feature line probably had 100 in itself, but that's a lot of labels. It just added, and it is dynamic. Okay. The cool thing about our apps that makes it very unique, it's not just regular spot label. What if I make an adjustment? What if I move the feature lines? Okay, move that one and that one. Oop, I picked the extra here. Because we're always making revisions on plans. And I'm going to just shift this over. Okay, it's going to rebuild. Even in commercial projects, airport projects, school projects, you know, curb lines are being moved, grade bracket lines are being moved, then you have to manually move the label, right? And that's kind of annoying when you got to move the labels all of them one by one or something. So we actually have an update button. Here's a label update right here, and say yes. I do want to delete any orphans, and look at that. It just moved the labels for us automatically. Okay, exactly where it needs to be. So that's kind of a beauty about our apps. You know, it is physically tied to those objects. So if that object disappear, you would delete the label. Questions about that so far? Now I do have another option in here. Select similar. Let me delete these. And we have the label intersection. That's where two feature lines connect or cross. Okay, I can just come in here and say, okay, maybe you just want that option. Hit enter, and I want to do S. And I want to do, maybe I just want to do a right X, and I want to do feature lines. And hit OK. Select the surface. And there we go. Only where feature lines touch and intersect. See, these are drastically a lot less. So you might like that option. Notice here, anywhere two feature lines intersect. Pretty cool, right? Well, it saves time. You know, one of our clients said it saved them a whole day using just this one app on a big subdivision they were doing. So, all right. Questions on just labeling that. We do have another one by interval. So if you wanted, that was a request by one of our clients. We wanted one every, you know, maybe every 25 feet along somewhere along a channel or something. You do have the option for intervals. Okay. Now we also can label all our lots. So let's say I want to label all these lots. Okay. I'm going to isolate this real quick. All right. It's on its own layer, and I'm going to do CCLS. Label lots, and I'm going to type in S right now for the setting, and I want to do a finished floor, finished pad, maybe a finished pad, but I'll do finished floor. And I only want 2D and 3D polylines. Select the surface. I'm going to hit enter since I froze it. And it's going to be this one, PG. And then select the objects. It's much easier this way to just isolate, and then come in here, turn it back on. And there we go. Finished floor all along every pad. That's something somebody was wanting. I was like, yeah, we can do that. So we have a lot label now for you. We do have a wall label for feature lines. If you had a retaining wall, let's see if I can find one real quick. I think this one may have one. Let me go look. Questions so far on the spot grading? I think that was probably our second most popular app for all our clients. All good. Okay. So in here, I think I got some retaining walls. I think there's one along the back here. Here's one. Yeah, there's just a feature line. The bottom and top here. Okay. So I can go into labeled. I think I have the styles in here. Let me check. May have to bring it in. Spot label. There it is. Top and bottom. I just want to make sure. Okay. So I can say label along vertices. I want every vertex along this retaining wall be labeled. And it says, okay, we want to do, what do you want to do first? Well, how do you know if you want to do top or bottom? There's a setting right here. And I want to do top first. So that's going to be that, and then I want to do bottom, okay, with a basic X, and that's going to be my default right now, okay. So we have a top of wall and bottom wall. So I'm going to select top and bottom. Okay, so let's go through that. Label, I'm going to do the top, may have missed it, and then the bottom, select the surface, and there we go. You can see the label right there. If I go along here, you can see it. There it is again. There it is again. Anywhere there's vertices, there it is again. And then there. I had other ones that's kind of overlapping here, but right there, these are different. These are ones I manually inserted. All the labels are there along that vertice of that wall. Wall label, wall label, wall label. And you can move them out. So I can, there's actually two labels. So I'm going to just window select and move. There we go. So that's a helpful tool that, I needed when I was doing design to label top and bottom of the wall. It's important you select them in the right order. Okay. So, and then we had a client that were adding Kogo points for surfaces. So we do have an option to add elevation points to all the Kogo points in the drawing. So that's another feature here we just added. There's a Kogo point option in there for you automatically. All right, so let's talk about labeling through the sheets now. All right, so I label through sheets. I don't label the best. Everybody's got their own personal preference. So let's go find one that's I gotta do this one here. So this is a small commercial project that I did. And I'm gonna label through the sheets now. Now you have two different options how to label through sheets. You can label, let's say you attach the grading base, which has your feature lines, okay? And I can label those feature lines in the drawing. So when I go to label vertices, you'll notice in the command line it says XREF or Y layer. So I'm gonna say X, and I can do is pick the feature line. I don't have it attached, but I would pick the feature line and then select the window of what I want to label, okay? And it will see those feature lines and say, okay, I'm gonna label all those feature lines through an XREF. Now I select that polyline so it sees a lot of polylines. I'm just gonna pretend I had the base in here, that grading base in here, and it would have gone and labeled it. I'm not gonna do that now because I've selected too many polylines, but that's option one. Option two, which is probably easier, is label a layer. So here, I don't typically do this, but some clients will actually have a top of curve layer and a bottom of curve layer. That's another option. One of my clients was doing that. So I'm like, okay, we can label those, label vertices, Y for layer. And I'm looking for that XREF layer. So I'm gonna go, I think it was called C pavement. Gutter. So I'm gonna label the gutter. Oh, face of curb. Okay, face. And then you got back curve. So right here, click OK. Select the surface. I can just hit enter because you can't, it works a little different. It's not like selecting through an XREF here. It does nothing. You got to hit S. Sorry, I'm going to hit S for the setting real quick. I want a left. I'm using the most common label style. I've got to pick the most common label style. Okay. Select surface, hit enter. It sees the XREF surfaces, one to the base, the other one's through an utility base. So I'm going to pick this first one. And there we go. So I just labeled them all at one time. All right. Now it doesn't know that it's overlapping. I mean, it would have to be probably AI technology to label see each other. So typically I will flip, one of these and change it. And maybe I want to do a right. And then I can do like a match properties and just start flipping some of these to where it needs to go. Anywhere we want them to go. Example, and these are just examples, and then you can continue moving around. Okay. Now, I just basically just a small little 2-3 acre project by just going in and labeling them all at one time. Manually, you would have to go point, then move them. And then maybe some of these you can copy them around. But in this example, that's, let me do a similar, select similar. We added 175 spot labels within 2 clicks. Okay, that's 175 clicks that just got saved when you're doing spot grading through an XREF. All right, but let's take it a little bit further. Let me move these over here. Okay, I'm gonna pretend. Okay, let's say this curb island shifted. Okay, like I said, we're always doing design changes. All right, so I'm going to make an adjustment to that. Go to that base drawing. I'm going to take this 2D polyline, landscape area. I'm going to shift it over to maybe over here. Maybe this island's now over here. Okay. And let's pretend that I've already regraded this area in here. Okay. I'm going to hit save. If I go back to my sheet, the actual grading sheet, because I want to label through XREFs. Okay, I need to update the base. Here we go. This is kind of beauty about our apps. It's updating the base. All right, I'm going to move this like this so it's a little more legible, readable. So you can see what's about to happen. I think this one, I want to move out like that. And I'm going to come up to our app and hit that update button, label update, okay, because it's actually moved that we had tied it to. Look at that. I just hit the update button. Civil 3, you can't do that. You would have to physically move those labels one by one to the right locations of that polyline or that feature line that you were targeting. And that's kind of the beauty about our app. So when you're doing grading, somebody's doing a grading base, another person can be in a grading sheet labeling everything and then leave it there. And by the time somebody finished doing the actual final design grade, just come back out here and hit the update button. You know, just hit the update button now. You know, so just a quick way to do spot grading. Questions about the spot grading? Any questions? Been kind of quiet. And give me a thumbs up for those that you know that it is a kind of a tedious task of doing spot grading on commercial, big multifamily projects. I had a 28 building apartment complex where it was just all over the place. So you really can't copy and paste labels everywhere because they're on different angles, different areas. And so you have to move manually one by one to the right location. So at least this saves you 175 clicks. Now you just got to move the ones you need to move. So you do have the option, label in base or label through an XREF, right? Label walls. Yeah. Okay. Let's do pavement quantities, parking counts. All right. I think in here. Okay. Same project. And trust me, I've seen all kinds of ways people do parking counts. To me, one of the most annoying ways is when I get an architectural plan and we have circles in every single parking space, and then they do a count based on the blocks. And you just added 175 circles to a drawing. Why? So here we have a style. It's basically a line and curve style that we've created that you could have that I can come in here and label the gutter. I'm labeling the gutter lines. It's a line label. And this is all the ones you get in here. There's face, there's 2 parking spaces plus 1 angle parking and stuff like that, and also curves. So all I have to do is come in here. Now it's going to look at, it's not doing total length, it's doing segment lengths. Okay, this is a curve. This one is a curve inward. So along that curve, there's 8 parking spots. I can flip these here. They are annotated, of course. Okay, and flip. Okay, oop, and flip that one. Okay, and notice here, I already added all these parking counts. If I look at this one says 4 because I added a vertex right here and a vertex here to get me, so that's correct. Okay, All right, so I have all of them labeled. Now I can create a table to see how many parking spots do I really have. Come up here and say count, put a table. Do you want to by style? And it should be a little dollar box came up. Let me see here. Count. Yes. Okay. And then select all the styles you're using. So these are all the styles that are in here. And any of the styles being used, include to the table. There we go. There's 106 parking spots in here. All right. Now, when I'm deleting and moving stuff, all I have to do come up here is hit that update button. Okay. What if I delete these parking spots? Maybe this whole island disappeared. I deleted it. There's no parking in here. And I come back and hit the update button. Now we have 85. Okay. Then somebody asks us, well, what if I personally modified it? You didn't have this. You override the actual label. You came in here and you typed in 5. You said edit text. And you typed in 5 in here. What will it do? Will it still recognize it as a parking count? Yes. I can come in here and hit update. Now it's not going to change, but let me, because it's still the same amount, I'm going to say, 3. I know it's not 3, but just show you. It still recognizes the number, integer. Come up here and hit update. And there we go. So it's just a good way to do parking counts. Very simple. It's dynamic. Somebody's asked us, can we have those styles? Yes, this is the only app that will let you import a style. It's right here, and you say import parking count styles, and I'm giving you all those line and curve styles that you could use and put it on the right layer, change the fonts. But this is how I do parking count. That way I can keep it up to date. It's based on lines. So what would happen if I added a vertice here? Well, it's going to change. Okay, so I need to include another one. So single, and there we go. So it's based on the segment length, not the total length. This is a one enclosed continuous polyline. Okay, so it's important that those vertices are correct. Okay, and these these apps they can slide around or around and stuff. So I think I moved that. Yeah, actually they moved it. I can slide it just like a typical line label. So questions about the parking out. I know everybody does something different, but this is just an idea to include to y'all's workflow. I don't do any blocks. I don't do hatching for parking counts. I do a regular line and curb labels that calculates it, and we created this table for you that you can use. So that's right here. So like I said, this is the only one that imports a style. Questions about that? Oh, good. Okay, and we still got 12 people on. Okay, now we do have an option. Let me go back to profiles real quick. Do I have any profiles in here? That's a good question. If you want to separate typical versus handicap in here, what we can look at is we can try to see if we can create based on a style. You can use a different style for the handicap and maybe have a total by standard. Oops, sorry, total standard, and then total ADA or something like that. ADA parkings. We could maybe have a table desk too. Would that be okay? Would that work? That's definitely a good question. Yeah, we can definitely look into that. Should be pretty simple. So, yeah. Okay. Let me go back to pipe networks real quick. Grading. Okay. There is. Let me go open up a drawing that already has pipe networks in it. I may have way too many drawings open. I'm going to close some of these drawings. Any more questions about any of the apps we've shown so far? I'm going to go back to that street app real quick, the new one we created. Let me just see if that was just a glitch, that it wasn't attached in the profile sheet. It attached the base drawing, like the regular base drawing. Questions? I guess which ones do y'all like so far out of all the ones I've shown so far? The surface labels. Yeah, I think that's our second favorite one from the clients we have so far. I think everybody still likes, it's a runner-up within the pipe network tools, and then the surface tool, the top number one, these two. Because you can, being able to create all your pipe networks and alignment at the same time on any project, doesn't matter surface. Yeah. Okay, close this. Just trying to close some of this stuff all out. Cool thing is we're always updating our app. We don't just sit on it for a year. We are always trying to update our apps based on client recommendation. Like, hey, it'd be cool if we had this feature, and then we go and see if it's possible, if it's easy to do. So we've had several updates based on client requests. So, all right, so let's, it's weird, nothing's coming up. There we go. I'm gonna do some utility stuff. Cool. So some cities, you have to show profile thicknesses in the utility profiles, okay? So if you missed it out, when you first created the pipe network profiles and you didn't click that hatching, you can always come back and say, okay, profile thickness. I can select the actual design surface in here, because here in the road, you could do it, it's pretty easy with the road, but if you've got a parking lot and you're doing this utilities through a parking lot, it's a little bit more challenging. So we built this app for profile thickness to show material thickness like pavement and stuff. And here it says, okay, what's the thickness? Okay, 0.5 or 6 inches. Now I can control where it starts and where it ends. Right, let's pick a style. Oh, I don't have any styles. Here's the style. I don't have any standards in here, but I'm gonna click OK to show you what it's actually doing. There we go. And I can add another one if I really wanted to, just below that. And then this one, maybe it's -1 for 1 foot. And maybe I'll pick an earth style, hatch style. If I had one in here, let's see here, let's add it. And I don't have a style. I would have to create another style in here for that one. And let's hit OK. Oh, region 2. And I can say 500. Okay. And go through this. Now, somebody asked, okay, what happens if the surface changes? Will this hatch material also update? Yes, there's an update button right here. So if that surface does adjust, it will rehatch it, and all you have to hit this button right here. Okay, that's just a simple app to show material thickness, pavement, asphalt, maybe some earthwork in there too. You just need to create styles. I didn't have any actual styles in here. I just had this one. But yeah, just hit the update button if the surface does change. Typically, I don't add it until before I submit the plans. I'll go and add it. That way I don't continue to have to update it. I'll add it and then hit the update at the very end. So that's another app we have here. Let me go back to our profile sheets. Let me try that again and just see if that was just a glitch. Close this. Like I said, it should be in the store later this week. Our create sheets, create plans. This was our utilities. And then go back and open up that base plan. And I'm going to delete these out of here and go back to this design base. That one I did today. Go back. I want to recreate those questions. Any more questions so far? And hopefully I'll see the benefits of this. You know, the other day I created a video where I created all the alleys and the alignments. You know, there was 17 alignments in here. I created them. Let me see if I can go create them all right now. Let's go run a test. And I'm going to come in here, create sheets. Let's just see what happens. We'll do it live. I'm just going to use the defaults, but yeah, I could easily come in here and just create names for every one of these. All right, so this will be a good live test. PG, it's going to be label sets. It's going to be that. Okay, PG, create full. Okay, good, good, good. Hit next. We'll create them at 900 feet. Left to right, right to left. We want band sets. Let's go select the band sets right over here, all of them at a time. Somebody asked us, could you change the profile height default from 30, like 40 to 30? Yes, you can. You could do that. Let's see if I can. I think we updated it one time. There we go. As you can see, we just updated the height. Okay. I'm going to hit apply and I hit next. Okay, this will be the band set. Help it by select them actually, and hit EG. Okay. Okay, hit next. We'll do by column. Let's just see what it looks like. Okay, hit next. And these are offsets. So let's just see if we can do all the offsets too. So I want existing at 30 foot. That could be the right of way offset, left, right, right, left. No labels, okay, for EG. There we go. There's no profile labels. I'm doing the left and right. Hit create. Come over here and hit enter. And there we go. Look at that. We got all our offsets in there. My alleys. Look at that. So now I don't particularly like this label set that I created here or was using in here, but every alignment profile has been created in here, as you can see. Now, this one's kind of crazy here, but this one, you know, you have to go and really design it. But like I said, some people get confused, like, well, it's doing a bad part of designing. It's not really designing. It's just trying to create something for you, you know, to save you a step or two, you know. Like this is a giant mound of dirt here. But yeah, it's just trying to create something for you to save you a step. So, all right, now let's cut sheets real quick for all the subdivision. You know, look at our alignments. Our alignments are there. Our labels are all there. And create plans. And we're going to select them all. Oh yeah, let me hit save real quick. Save as, or save over this. Call, I'm going to date this, today's date, 5-9/23. Okay. Save. All right, before I create the sheets, let me hit save. All right, let's go create our plan views. And I'm going to select them all, check them all. Okay, next. And these are our blocks. That's my template. It's pointing to the right template already. the buffers left and right, everything's good to go. We'll hit create. Of course, it's gonna look crazy because we got a bunch of them overlapping each other because they're so close in here. But I would spend time in here making some of these, not as tall, narrow, and width, and adjusting these. But let's pretend you've already done that. I'm gonna hit save. All right, let's go create our sheets. And so it's gonna create a lot of sheets, drawings. These are all the presets, where you're going to save, how you're going to name the drawings in here. You have options, how you want to do it. Let me delete that. I didn't want that. Oop. Try that again. Sorry. 3. There's the pull down. You have all these different options. How do you want to name the actual drawings? Okay. And I'll just hit OK. So it should be quite a few drawings it's creating for every alignment, center line, and alley. Let's just see if that first test was a glitch. That's really odd because I ran it several times yesterday and it was just fine. You never know, it's Civil 3D. Nothing works correct 100% of the time. Questions? Any more additional questions? Like I said, it's trying to reproduce, produce all those sheets for you, your plan and profile sheets in the background. All right, let's go look. Let's see if we need it. So there's all the drawings, as you can see. All right, let's go open. Let's see if it worked okay. Oh, there we go. So here's that short little alley, the plan and profile for that short alley, and it's only one tab. Let's just pick another random one. I'll pick this one. So I didn't need 3 tabs. There's the other one. So now it works. So maybe it was just a glitch. You may, when you create the views, you may want to hit save before you create the sheets. So that's the only thing I did different. I saved before I created the sheets. Now, if I run audit real quick, notice the north arrow hasn't updated. This is just a generic north arrow. Just hit audit, hit yes, and it may fix itself. Yep, there you go. So that's something we're trying to work on. Sometimes it works correctly, the dynamic north arrow, and sometimes we got to type in audit. So we're kind of look into that and see why sometimes it works and sometimes this doesn't work. The north arrow, dynamic north arrow, and of course the bar scale is working also. So yeah, you can see here that one only had 1 tab. So it mass produced all the alignments for the alleys and stuff. I'll pick another random one. So if you've ever got a large project like a subdivision, this can definitely come in handy. Yep, there we go. And you can see here, it's in there. So now notice here, it's attached, the base, which is the overall proposed base, and then that street base. So they're both attached. So when I update, there's no longer, I don't need all that styles in this drawing because it's attached. There's no longer alignment styles and profile styles and all that layers and stuff. If I can look at my layers, this is all I have in my drawing. 12 layers. I don't need 100 layers on plan sheets anymore. I have 18 layers in here. There's only labels just for the plan view also. That's it. Nice, clean drawing. Now it doesn't have to do all these data referencing and linking. I'll just hit the update button now for the XREF. And I'm good to go. So, and you'll be using your match line. If you have a match line, just using this very generic match line, but you'll be using your match lines in your template. Questions? So yeah, I think it was the only problem was when I created the first time, I did hit save. You need to hit save, then create your sheets. So I think that's the only thing I did different. So any questions? Now, I'm sure we'll probably run into something once people start using the app more and more. You know, once they get it out, we want to get some feedback and see if there's any issues with the views and the profiles, creating profiles. Like I said, please don't think that this is the actual design that you're going to be using. You're going to go in here and actually design this profile. We're just building this design profile for you. That's it. Yes, is it trying to identify low points and high points for you, but you need to actually do the design. Now, there was a option in here. Somebody requested, hey, can we assign the AASHTO standards and stuff like that to these alignments? Yes, that's what this button here is, design criteria that we added. Design speed is 30, profile 30, and then use design criteria for both, just like that other diagram that you saw. And this is something we just added over the weekend. And let me click this button here now. And it should go, it looks like we may have a little bust here, unless there's a delay. Yeah, this should point to the AASHTO standards. And so we're going to release that in the next update in here. So this is brand new. Yeah. You can change those values, these preset values in here if you wanted to. Yeah. Questions? I want to thank everyone for attending our video. We have here. I'm going to give you a flyer if you want to know how. Let me see if I can find that little flyer. If you want to know all the information about the apps, we do have like a little digital flyer. Just 1 second, and I'll post it on the chat for you. Let's see, where did I save it? Okay, there it is. And this will give you everything you need to know, pretty much. Where's the chat? Okay, there we go. All right. And that's a digital little flyer with all our apps, talking about what each one can do. There are a bunch of other additional apps in the pull down. We have other ones in here, like move labels, pipe network alignment. That means that the pipe has moved, adjusted, and you want to assign the alignment, the pipe network with the closest alignment to it. So I can say, hey, pick the closest alignment that's 5 foot away from this pipe network that I've just readjusted. So that's what that tool does here, pipe network readjustment. So, yeah. Any additional questions real quick about the pipe networks? Let me go back to that pipe network real quick. Remember I told you about the highlight feature? That's actually, some of our clients actually love that feature when they're designing that visual tool. If I do a split view and turn it on, so I'm in here, I go to my profiles, okay, and I click a structure, okay, let me turn it on, okay, turn it back on. And if I pick a structure, notice here it turned white right there. I can see it's white. And you can make it bigger. If I click on a pipe, an actual pipe, not the grid, you can see here it's highlighted. And you can change the color, how that looks. It's just a visual tool. The structure again, but I can come into the settings. So highlight pipe settings, and it says, okay, what color do you want it to be? What color? Let's say, 2 is yellow. And enter the highlight scale 10, highlight index color for structures. I also want that to be yellow 2. Enter the scale factor 2 for profile. Yes, that's fine. Profile view 2, 1.5. There's quite a few scale factors. Transparency 60, so that way it doesn't cover up the pipe. I hit enter. Now when I do it, can see here it's kind of yellow. It's got a little transparency on it too. Same thing with pipe. If I click it on the plan and just zoom out, you'll see it. Let's see. It might be my settings could be too thin on the profile. I think I have it too thin. There it is. Yeah, it was a little too thin. But you can make it bolder, wider. See, the one I clicked here, it's over here, it's highlighted. And you want to kind of assign a transparency and stuff. So look at these right here. They're not touching the top. I can go, and you can do the bottom too if they're not touching the bottom of your grid on your profile. Profile network labels move, highlight it, top 0. Just fix that real quick when I noticed it. Yeah. So like I said, I would say just doing a commercial project like this little subdivision, within like 15 minutes, you could actually create all your alignments. You can create all your alignment profiles. You can create all your sheets. You can create all your pipe networks and their alignments, all the profiles. Before you start designing, you can have this stuff created in about 15 minutes or less, if you think about it. All right, I'm going to stop right there. I think we covered all the apps. We do have another one here. I don't have time to show it, but this corridor property is basically if you have a feature line or alignment along a cul-de-sac or intersection, you can tie those endpoints to the actual design corridor main road. So if that main road profile changes, I can just hit this update button and the cul-de-sac will readjust itself up to the main line. Now, if you like me to come in and do a presentation with y'all's company templates, your project, a live project, we can do that. Just message me. This is my email. Put it on the chat. Email me if you want to do a live presentation for your company. I'm going to show a link to the App Store. Put a link real quick. And we're just looking up Civilcad Learning Solutions on the App Store. So I'm going to put it on the chat also. There it is. Like I said, our apps are monthly subscription by user. No, we don't do network licensing. Let's say if a user leaves the company, we can also reassign it to another user. It's based on emails. So we'll just reassign the email to that user license agreement. So, okay, a lot of good questions. A lot of good questions. So yeah, hopefully y'all see the benefits of it, and your company will want to start using it. We got several clients that have like 20 licensing through multiple offices, and yeah, we've got several big companies that are testing it out. But yeah, definitely. Somebody asked me, did you have an issue with the Northdale changing viewports to 0000? No, not yet, not that I know of. That's a good question. All right, I'm going to stop the video here. Everybody, I think you have my email address. Give me a contact if you want to get more information about our app. Like I said, it's $60 a month for the app per user, or $600 for a whole year. And it really within one use, it pays itself off. If I'm going to save you 12 hours on a big project or several hours, it's going to pay itself off within one project. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining me today. Keep in contact, and definitely if you're a DFW user, come join me and chat with me on our MeWe platform for our user group, and hope to hear from y'all. All right, I'll stop it here. And y'all have a great day. Appreciate it. Thank you.